All right. Good morning, Facebook family. Happy Friday. Another day of beautiful weather in Erie, Pennsylvania. I hope other places as well. But this is the kind of
chilly today, but still
I love the chilly mornings. I love it. So welcome to Caffeinated Q&A. We're on episode 18. So this has been fun, guys. I appreciate you hanging out with us for this long. So we have, first things first. Again, I forget every week. So first things first. Every week we put out one email. It will summarize the previous week's shows. It will tell you kind of what we have coming up. We have some really interesting shows coming up, guys. So jump on the email list, ghostcreative.com/live. We definitely put resources in there that we're not putting other places. So yes, we're a marketing company. We're trying to entice you to sign up for that email list. So I hope you go do it. But let's just be honest about it, right? We have an awesome guest with us today, and we are not just fans of the business from a marketing perspective, but also we are customers, both of us, myself and Sean. And so this morning we have with us Gavin from Altered State Distillery. So welcome, Gavin.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Doing good today.
Good. Thanks for taking the time to join us. So this is Caffeinated Q&A. So we talk about our caffeine first. I don't know if you're a caffeine guy, but are you a coffee drinker, a tea drinker, none of the above?
I am a coffee drinker.
Yeah.
Mainly with Kahlua.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
go. Makes sense. I'd be disappointed if it wasn't. So this morning, I always have the same boring coffee or same couple boring coffees. So I promised on Tuesday that I have something different. So this morning I have, let me see if I can get it in here, Lavazza espresso. It is fantastic. We've had it before. Super fantastic. And also apparently one of the favorite coffees of Jerry Seinfeld, or at least while they're sponsoring his show, it's a favorite coffee of his. So yeah, fantastic. I would definitely recommend it. We got ours. They sell it at Wegmans, wherever, but super good, super smooth, a little strong, but it works. What about you, Sean?
I'm still drinking my Trader Joe's stuff that I got last weekend.
Awesome.
Mint green tea or whatever. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Good deal. So guys, we're going to dig in here with Gavin a little bit and learn a little bit more about where they got started and where you're going. So Gavin, just maybe to get started, can you just give people a little bit of background on, I'm curious, where did you come up with the idea? How did you get started, and why a distillery? That seems like a really big undertaking.
So it was probably around 2016. My wife and I had started going to a lot of distilleries, not only regionally, locally, but also in Kentucky and Tennessee. We traveled to Virginia and worked our way down through Ohio as well, and started to explore these places as the craft brewing industry began. It was that interest in finding a craft experience. It really resonated with us. And we started to look in the region, and we noticed that there was, at the time, only two, and one was in the county, and Cart Horse out towards Edinburgh 99, and then Luminary, which was up in Summit. And we said, there's an opportunity here for the city of Erie. And we started really digging into it then. Found myself on the unemployment line, got fired from a job that I was not very good at in selling controls, but I spent about 27 years in industry working mechanical engineering, sales for a local manufacturing plant, and just was disheartened. I think that I looked at my life. My wife was very supportive during this time, and I said, I've done this for half my life. I said, I want to do something that I want to do for the next half. And I started to delve down the rabbit hole of building the business plan. Worked very closely with the SBDC at Gannon. They assisted me in generating the general format. Wonderful service. His name's John Fee. In fact, he branched out and went into his own business.
Yeah, I know John. He's awesome.
He's a wonderful guy. He helped me out very much. Took about a year to get that built. And I had approached my partner, Aaron, He was already tinkering with the pot still out on the farm, and literally we started on the production side, delving into recipe development, and started doing ferments. Started running very tiny nano batches. We did rye whiskey. We did peated single malt. I had 2 explosions in my bathtub of fermenters and carboys. The airlocks got clogged, the pressure built and exploded. And it was black malt, very similar in our American whiskey, in our single malt side, and it was a mess. And that was about 4 a.m. So that led to a fun day. But yeah, you know, we took it and we went to local banks, and we were going to sell it. And First National Bank here in Erie has just been exceptional for us. In fact, they're who we use. We met the president of the branch, and everyone was very much interested in supporting us. So there was a lot of real positive motion from every side of this. It was almost like someone was watching over us to help us succeed, because too many things went right in a way that was very surprising to us. And we actually found a third-party investor that became part of the company with us. And from then on, it's just been a blessing. And so, you know, we started generating, what do we want to do here? What can we bring to Erie that the other 2 didn't bring? And one of the big things was a big city concept. We've been to a lot of these distilleries. We worked with distilleries even in 2017, we were already starting down a path to work with Caffeinated Cellars, which is where we built our original single malts. We didn't have a DSP or a distilled spirits plant license yet. And so in order to get aged product, we had to make it. We paid them a fee. We bought the grains. We bought the barrels. We went down. We worked with their head distiller. We built the products. They aged them. They stored them for us until we were ready to transfer them up here. So a lot of things went in a direction. We had a very meticulous plan set up. So that when we opened, we were ready. And I think if you've been here, especially during our height, you know, early in the year and even into last year at the end of the year, you saw how beautiful it was. It's a big city feel. It's a very chic industrial kind of look. Our marketing, we spent tremendous amounts of time working with Turn It Up Media out of Colorado. They're the guys that came from New Belgium and Oscar Blues, developed a marketing firm. And so that kind of fit well in the industry for us. And then it came into concepts and development and imagery development. And they walked us down a path of what you see today on our bottles with our red tail hawks and our black bear, our red fox, and our white mink, all animals indigenous to the region, and what they symbolize. And in fact, all the art that we did on our bottles was done by a gentleman named John Vogt, which was the artist for the Grateful Dead String Cheese Incident. And he came in and did the art on our bottles. So we tied it all together in this music form, as my partner and I both are musicians. He's more of the pro musician than I am, but we had music in our hearts and spirits on the brain, and we meshed it together and built Altered State.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. There's so many good things there I want to ask you about, but I'm going to start with this one. So I've said for a while now, I'm a really bad employee because I feel like it's really hard to change the world when you're working for somebody else and working under someone else's rules, right? So walk me through a little bit, and, you know, for the audience, a little bit through, like, what is that mindset when, you know, you get, I've been through getting laid off from jobs, you get fired from a job, and you're like, man, what am I going to do with my life? Because what I've been doing, I don't think that's going to work for me moving forward. What was that process like for you to think through it? Because I think we really undervalue the mindset that it takes to push through starting a business, because I'm sure you can attest, like, it's a lot of work. It's hard work. And there's no real tried and true blueprint to just get it all right. So what does that look like from a mindset perspective?
Well, it's actually somewhat of a depressing place to be in. You almost are where you have nothing left to lose. But that's where I think some of the greatest experiences in life lie. I think that when your back's against the wall, what are you going to do? And I think that's where I was blessed with the support of my wife, obviously, because if you don't have someone supporting you, you're going to doubt yourself.
Yeah.
And there was no for sure plan. I just researched and detailed and delved into it. And, for the past, 3 to 4 years, it's literally been my life, even before it was built and now to today. It's a pretty sad, like I said, it's a sad place to be in. But it brought out the best in what I was doing, and I was dedicated. There's no blueprint, like you said. Everybody's experiences are different, and with what we did, we were fortunate because we found a niche, and that's not always the case. You can have a great idea and it not be executed well. You can have a bad idea and it's executed well, but you're still not successful. So we were very, very fortunate in that. This industry hadn't been saturated yet. A lot of these distilleries too, the distilling side of it was a part-time gig for them. I know that was the case for the other distilleries. I think they're starting to come in and work full-time now, but I think some of them are still have full-time jobs, and that's a part-time gig. Yeah. I don't know how on a level of work that we do here that you do that. Man, you'd be working 24 hours days. I mean, you got 12 hours of work here and then your regular job. So I hats off to them that they were able to do that. We've never been able to do it that way. Fortunately, when my partner came on with me, he was as dedicated as I was. And, he left his other job and he was very successful at it. And he came on here to take a chance with me. And, so far it's been a good blessing. But it's all about working with the right people. And for us, it was the SBDC. I mean, I would recommend to anybody ever looking to build a business plan that, find your local colleges, find the local groups that have these organizations in support of local businesses, and start talking to people and go down that path. I obviously wrote it, and it took a tremendous amount of time and detail, but they helped me format it, and it was very helpful.
Yeah, that's awesome. There's something you've mentioned a couple times, and it's something that we talk about a lot. And, the marketing speak is like brand positioning. Like, how are you different than the competitors? Is that something that you guys just knew that you had to do? Or was it something that, a marketing team came to you and said, hey, you need to make sure you're different? Is that just something you knew from, intuition saying, hey, if we're going to do this, we know we have to be different?
We knew that. This is an industry that, there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. Gins, there's a million gins out there. There's a million different styles of vodkas. There's a million different styles of whiskey. How do you stand out amongst the others, right? So especially this industry, we knew from the beginning, marketing was a big part of what we're doing. And as much as we all like to say, hey, look at the label I made, I did about 7 label developments before I gave up and realized I'm not a marketing expert or graphic artist, or, I didn't have the tools to build it accordingly. I thought a lot of the designs were cool, but our vision was always a national market. Even though we're in Erie, we want to build a national brand.
Yeah.
Our goals are to be statewide, tri-state area wide, and then so on and grow and grow. We've entered all of our spirits in different places. We now have marketing on them that they've all won awards through the ADI, and they're one of the biggest. They're American Distillery Institute. They're one of the biggest organizations in the country, and it was very flattering, and we were honored to even be a part of it, let alone win the awards that we did. And we won gold medal, one of the highest awards for our white mink vodka. So there was a lot of surprises that have come along, but it's all based on marketing. And in fact, we won a silver medal for our packaging as a new distillery.
Yeah.
And and because of that visualization and the way the bottles are set up, the masculinity of the logo and how that plays into what we do, people in Texas know about us, people in Chicago know about us, people in California know about us, all because of it going through the ADI process. And we're kind of shaking the pool a little bit, if you will. And we're getting a lot of recognition. A lot of people now are looking at us. And so it's full steam ahead with the new products and the quality development and things like that. So, but marketing was a big part of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, your look is very distinct. It's one of those looks where you see it once and then you can, I mean, I can look at a different bottle and I can know just the style and the look and the feel of it is very distinct. So that's an awesome.
Yeah,
look.
that was all done by design. In fact, our bottles are imported from France. We're the only distillery in the country that uses this particular bottle. And that's a blessing and a curse all in the same. If I run out of them, I can't get them. I can't call a distillery up and ask, hey, can I buy a pallet of them from you? I got to wait 8 weeks or another 6 months till they're produced to get my lot from France. So we kind of shifted gears a little bit on our white bottles where they're more of an oval shape, but they're the same height, the same width, and our labels fit on them great. And we buy those from an American company. So that's kind of helped take the pressure off of the very high-end lines.
Sure.
Now we're doing our whiskeys in, but our gin, our rum, and our vodka now will be in the other bottles. But yeah, a lot of effort was put into that.
Yeah, awesome. I'm going to shift gears a little bit and talk about leadership. So you guys, you've not been around for that long. COVID hits. Now you guys have to figure out what to do, right? Like a lot of small businesses, it's like, yeah, things are sailing along. You're trying to get things figured out. You're just getting started, trying to ramp up, trying to find new customers, new markets. And then the state comes in and says, yeah, sorry about your luck, but you can't sell product. You can't have people in your establishment anymore. How did you lead through that time? How did you process it? And then how did you lead? And we think of this in two different ways, right? Like, how did you lead your team? And then also, how did you lead your customers? Because what we keep telling business owners is when you're shut down, don't stop talking, right? Because your customers need to know that you're still there. So from those two perspectives, how did you lead from like internally and then externally to your customers?
So we were very blessed in that we had foresight enough to cut in a side window. We had always dreamt of having an outdoor patio. And during our build out, we said, well, let's cut out that garage door that'll lift up and then it'll put access to the bar and we can serve outside. Thank God we did that. When they came in and submitted the letter, they said, you have to close these doors and lock them. And we did. And we said, we're going to sell outside this window. And they said, yep, go ahead. And we just went, okay. So we started scrambling to develop how do we do to-go cocktails, which we made sure not only through the municipality, but the PLCB and the federal government didn't have regulations according to that. As long as the municipality okays it, they were good with it. So in turn, that brought us back to more of a timeline issue. At that point, we bought a slushy machine for Mardi Gras weekend, and we were going to put hurricanes on, and that was the reason we bought it. We bought cups. That we were going to signature cups we were going to have with the cocktails, and we fired that up, and all of a sudden we saw an immediate response. So we developed a new recipe in the orange cream, and then that went on, and then we found the machine couldn't keep up with folks, and then we brought in another bigger machine, and then we put in key lime pie, and then we brought in pina colada, and then we brought in whiskey and Coke. And now, it's been just crazy. These slushies, I mean, people love them. We don't use mixes and we're all natural with it, and people respond that way to it. But that kind of window, those things hitting off, the weather rolling in, we've never stopped. In fact, when the state stores closed, we saw a major uptick in business, which was such a blessing. I mean, Erie was, they saved us. And with that happening, though, we had people making runs on our whiskey and vodka. People were trying to buy cases. We had to limit everybody to one bottle per person because we wouldn't have had anything left. We actually pulled our American, our peated, and our rye whiskey, our blended series, our B-side blends. We pulled them from the market. We had about 300 bottles plus left, and we were hoarding them for the day that the distillery opens again, because we have to have product. It takes over a year to build this stuff. And we would have been out till 2021, and we didn't want that. So But we were, so as that happened, it opened up a lot of capital for us to now invest back into the business. Patio is a year out, but now we're doing it in 2 weeks. From buying this equipment, we updated our equipment in the back. We bought a bigger chiller. We did all these things. We wouldn't have been able to do that. So it was such a blessing to have all that happen. And now it's management. So in moving through this COVID, the bigger scare to us is now the recommendations and the requirements to be able to be open. The increase in staff that you have to have, the management of cleaning bathrooms and cleaning tables and monitoring how many people are in, social distancing, and us policing that, and the CDC and the health department's requirements to small business. On top of that, POS systems that are handless now, scanning devices that have to be done for age verification in our industry. All these things are going to cost us all a tremendous amount of money.
Yeah.
We're fortunate, we're very blessed, and we're very thankful that we were able to be open and generate revenues and keep moving. A lot of businesses weren't, and I feel for them mostly because, these are folks that haven't even been in. We have a couple in our plaza that haven't even seen the light of day yet. They got closed right when they were about to open, and now they're going to have incredible expenses to reopen, to add to their already overhead that they haven't even made a revenue stream for 3-4 months. So I don't know what the state's planning or how they're going to police that. But I feel terrible for other businesses that are in those predicaments. We're out buying breathe barriers where we have an inside space that we can separate. I still have to hire on more staff. I still have to look into my POS system, but we can manage it. But restaurants, these big restaurants that have been closed, how are they going to do that? That part of this whole step process concerns me and scares me to an extent. So I think in leading your team, one of the things you want to make sure of is procedure, compliance, and safety. And we're teaching the procedures, we're following the compliance, and keeping our staff safe is probably the most important thing to us. And obviously our patrons as well, and just following compliance. But I've been to Ohio, I've been to Pittsburgh, where these places are green, and it's like business as usual. It's whatever side of it you're on or believe or are worried about, I think it's a serious thing to be considering. I think it's a serious thing that people were getting hurt by this virus. But I'll tell you, it was refreshing to be in a place that did not feel like it was locked down.
Yeah.
And I guess we're trying to lead by example. So we're going to be very safe. And we're building new procedures. Our staff, we just had a staff meeting last Monday. And then it's about communication with our clients. Luckily we've been able to have that. We have a serious social media presence, thanks to my wife, who writes very silly articles and silly, funny anecdotes that people really respond to, especially in such a dark time. Yep. That also helps us get communication across to things like the new patio, things like the new spirits coming on this summer. We have a beer barrel aged whiskeys that we did with Voodoo and with Erie Brewing. We have a barley wine rye, which we're going to enter in all the competitions. This is one of the most incredible whiskeys we've done to date. And then we have a stout barrel bourbon that we did. So with building these products and getting them out to these customers and letting them know that we're open on the side window and putting out a space that people can come out and have an actual glass cocktail, not just a plastic to-go cocktail, because there's an experience that you have with a cocktail in a glass much different than a plastic one. So that was where we always wanted to get back to. And we are starting to do that now. But yeah, who knows what the future holds. We're just trying our best to communicate with everybody what we're doing. But it's every day you're analyzing the situation you're in, the world we're in.
Yeah.
You got to be quick on your feet. You got to be able to shift another direction and go another direction. One of the things that's the saddest is we've lost all of our events. Right. We were in Rib Fest, Celebrate Erie, Gears and Grub, the Cambridge Bring Music Fest. We were going to be on Meadville Tuesday nights down in Meadville setup. The Art and Jazz Festival that was right across the street from us. We lost all those this year. And as a new business, we don't know how those would have played in, but we were sure excited just to be a part of these things and to have our our booths and our travel gear, and to see where that leads us in expansion and growing from the region down the I-79 corridor, which has always been a plan of ours, and then also out into New York and out into Ohio. So that's probably the saddest thing for me right now, is that we lost all of those events. But we're still open, so I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, awesome. I'm going to tell you a quick funny story that I have permission to tell about a cocktail in a plastic cup. So yesterday, my wife stopped by and we purchased some of your products. And she grabbed what was the drink? Starburst. Something.
Starburst lemonade. Yep.
Yeah, Starburst lemonade. So she brought it home, and we decided we were going to go fishing. We have 4 kids. We were taking some of the boys fishing. So we jump in the car. We drive out to Walnut Creek. My wife had the cocktail at home before we left. I drove, of course, just in case anybody's gonna poke holes. We get out there. We're fishing. My 12-year-old son, he casts into the creek. He's reeling in. He gets snagged. Right. So my wife climbs in to help get his line unsnagged. And she was in maybe up to her knee at first. And then if you've been to Walnut Creek, the rocks are slippery. And before we know it, she took a swim in the drink yesterday. So I think that cocktail in the plastic cup might have had a little bit to do with it. And I was joking with her because she had to make the fishing walk of shame, the 10-minute wet walk back to the car by herself. So thank you for the entertainment that you helped provide yesterday for our family.
You want to be sitting down when you have our and running water and slippery rocks. The right place for that.
She didn't get hurt, but in all seriousness, the drink was fantastic, and so I just thought that was a funny story that I would like to share.
That's an example of us, pulling out all the stops, trying different things. I mean, our R&D department is a fun place to be, if you can imagine. Putting all these concepts and ingredients together and generating cocktails and how do we do it? Our latest is a collaboration with Breakwall Barbecue. They have a smoked tea that they did out there that, they go through, they told me at one point they do 150 bottles every week of their vodka. And we were supposed to get our vodka over to them. So I was very excited to get my product place of what they have at that level. But it is the most amazing product I've ever had. And they were kind enough and came over here and delivered us 3 gallons of it and gave us the recipes and said, guys, go at it. And if you've never been there, go there. It's one of the greatest barbecue joints in the region. It's right on the lake in Conneaut.
Okay.
And their smoked tea, get that cocktail. You will not regret it. And so come to our distillery and get it as well. So we're, that's just that new product development. Every day we're coming up, with new ideas. Some kind of go on the back burner. My biggest one was the, I'll tell you later. I forgot the name of it, but
no worries.
Have ingredients like basil and tomato and Himalayan salt and vodka and balsamic vinegar, and it's a martini.
Yeah.
And I've been dying to get it out to the public because my wife and I craft made these at home, and I couldn't drink enough. They were so good. They replaced Bloody Mary because they weren't as salty, but much richer and sweeter in flavor. They're just a wonderful cocktail. But stuff like that sometimes get on the back burner.
Yeah. You told me about another drink, the partnership you had with Romulo's, project you were doing with Romulo's that you said you're bringing back, I believe.
Yes, they did cherry soaked chocolates with our American blended whiskey. That was one of our biggest sellers, and we wanted to highlight it in a chocolate. My wife and I during our travels had got whiskey caramel chocolates. We've gotten everything in the industry. We were like, this is a lot of fun to have on your shelf for merch. And as a product line, whatever. And being next door to Romulo's, it was a no-brainer. Yeah. And when we approached them last year, they were busy at that time with their seasons, the end of the year. And finally, Tony over there had come back to the table and said, hey, we're going to do this for you. And we didn't know what to expect. But boy, so they came in. They were beautiful, and the chocolate that they use and the cherries that they used in the flavor of the whiskey coming through it, just lights out. And I put them on the table as soon as I got them, and 2 days later, I had 160 units gone. And we got double that coming this time. And so these will be a nice little thing we'll do once in a while. I'm not sure it's a model we can stay in to regularly do it because of the demand and the volume.
Sure.
But they'll be coming to market for Father's Day. We're hoping to have them a couple days in advance. And that's that collaboration. We're collaborating with Erie Brewing. We're looking to collaborate with Riverside Brewing. We're looking to collaborate. That's Riverside. With Voodoo, all the brew companies, they love barrels every bit as much as we do. So they take our whiskey barrels and we take their beer barrels. And it's kind of a symbiotic relationship. We're looking at distilling beer for some of these breweries that have a product that maybe just didn't sell well, but has a lot of value, because if we distill out the high proof alcohol, we can then put that in a barrel and let it sit for a couple of years, and we've got a great whiskey. And so we're looking at doing some of those things as well. But collaboration is where it's at. I would work with every company in this town if I could. One thing I wanted to mention, we worked a lot with musicians, and one of the big things was our support of musicians. Those guys are taking a beating right now. All their events are canceled. A lot of these guys, that's their living. They're going back in to try to cook. They're going back into some other industries, but we're a big musical venue. Now, we're not like the Rook or anything, but we pride ourselves with the bands. My wife's been an amazing event planner. And that's what I think brought us a lot of notoriety and attention, was not only the music that we had, but the cocktails and the atmosphere. So we're really looking to get back into that. But we supported them through doing some online. We would donate money to them to come on and play for an hour. We have T-shirts for sale up front that the proceeds, and literally 100% of the proceeds, will go to the musicians. So come on down and buy shirts. It's for a good cause. These guys need it. And we're going to send them out to the 5 guys that we have listed on the shirts that we promoted. And just praying that this thing gets open enough where we're now allowed to put live music out on our patio or out in our parking lot. We're planning on doing that this summer. We need the green light, the green phase to do it. So.
Yeah. I got one more question for you, but first, guys, just for the audience, I think one thing I want to point out about what Gavin is saying, and a message that I'm hearing scattered throughout everything that he said, is there's so much gratitude in what he's saying, right? Like, he's talking about, like, there's a lot of talk about products and what they're doing, but all of that, scattered through all of that, is just gratitude. And this is something we talk about, having empathy for your clients, for your team. And that gratitude, people know that, right? They can feel that. Your consumers can feel that. The businesses that you want to partner with can feel that. These musicians obviously can feel that. But that gratitude, even in difficult times, is so powerful, because you can sit around and feel sorry for yourself and say, man, this is a tough time, but that's not going to get you anywhere. Being thankful for what you have and pushing through and coming up with new ideas. I mean, we're dealt the hand we're dealt, and we can either play it or we can cash in. But if you're going to play with gratitude, and you'll go a lot further. So Gavin, one more thing, just so everyone knows, you talked about the patio. What is the timeline on that for you guys? Hopefully being able to open up that patio.
So I think all of our wood will arrive early next week. We're buying a grade 1 wood that's, I guess, a little bit harder to get. But that said, we expect as soon as that wood comes in, our contractor's waiting in the wing. Our permits just got approved. We're just going to print them out and hang them up. But we're ready to go. So we're hoping in 2 weeks, but definitely by July 4th. We believe that our patio will be open. We're probably going to do our barley wine, rye, and stout barrel bourbon launch that weekend as well, and the patio is going to open. That paired with the slushies, the smoked tea that we're going to have up by, for sure, volume-wise up by then, and all the different cocktails. Man, I hope this place has 100 people in the parking lot. I mean, we want to bring people here. We want to bring people to Green Garden Plaza for all of the businesses, not just ours. And I just want to feel a bit of normalcy. And we can do that. We can do that outside. We can do that social distancing. I don't see any reason why not that things can't open up a little bit in some capacity in an outdoor concept. At least that's our opinion. And we're just excited to have Erie back. You know, I mean, they've been very supportive of us, and we want to give a lot back. And giving a lot back to them is creating all of these great concepts and launching them, and then, you know, working our tails off day in and day out, building new things and that people here can love. And, you know, we brought a big city concept to a small town, and it's really, really been a big hit. And right before all this, you know, there were so many small businesses opening up in Erie. I personally I thought this was an incredible time in the city of Erie. I thought with what was going on downtown, the redevelopment project, you know, you got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet kind of thing. But you had to rebuild these things. You had to put money into these things in order to get businesses to come in. I really thought we were headed in a direction that in my lifetime I hadn't seen yet in this town. And I was really happy to be a part of it. I certainly hope this COVID hasn't stopped that. I hope people stay vigilant and confident and believe in this town. I just think we gotta get past some of these things that we're dealing with safely, and hopefully we can do that. But I'm excited to see the town go back to where it was and start growing again.
Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate you being on here. More than that, even, I appreciate you, what you're doing for Erie, the business partnerships, just, you know, having strong businesses in Erie helps other businesses. I love that you're doing partnerships with what some people in your space might see as competitors, right? Like that is such a core aspect of building a real small business community is, you know, creating partnerships with other people in your space. I
John,
know that
I want to mention then on that note,
yeah,
another thing that got pulled from us, but we had set up with the other distilleries in town for not lack of a better word, because we never got to it, but like a booze cruise.
Mm-hmm.
And we were going to do that with the Victorian Princess, where Luminary, Cart Horse, us, and Erie Distilling were going to be on the ship. And we weren't going to do it, but Victorian Princess would sell tickets. Our only stipulations were, you know, buy the spirits from all of us groups, remove all the beer, put water, cocktails, sodas, things like that. And then you can even have a catered food event, but the Victorian Princess would be responsible for selling the tickets. And that was our concept. We brought all the distilleries in here and pitched it along with Victorian Princess, and everybody was on board. And that was probably in January. Well, I think somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So we had that event planned for summer as well. And that's that collaboration, like you just mentioned. We don't look at distilleries as competitors. We look at them as, you know, business allies. We don't want someone going to another distillery and saying, well, I didn't like any of their stuff, I like yours better. Like, we don't like hearing that. I mean, I love hearing that in a certain sense, but it saddens me because I want to hear that, man, I had such a great time over there. I had such a great time over here. And that builds a distillery trail that everybody can love in this region. That's the goal for this business, for this industry. There's no competition as far as we're concerned. We all work together, and we're going to carry that torch as long as we can. I know the beer industry used to be that way. The brewery industry used to be that way. And I think we took a lot from that with us into this industry. And we see a lot of positives in that. So that's how we approach it.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's the right mindset. That's how we're going to grow Erie. And that's what I think we both agree needs to happen. And I, you know, from the circles that I've been in with other business owners, there's still passion. There's uncertainty, of course, but there's still passion to get this thing back on track and get back to where we were prior to COVID. And I think I'm confident that we're going to get there. And it makes me more confident when I talk to business owners like yourself that I know are pushing to get this thing back on track. So, man, I really appreciate you, Gavin. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today. Yeah, I'm sure we'll be stopping by your place again sometime in the near future.
Look forward to it.
Yeah. So, guys, this has been Caffeinated Q&A. This is Friday edition with Gavin from Altered State Distillery. Check him out on social media. Stop by. The product is fantastic. And, you know, from having Gavin on here, you know where his mindset is. And guys, these are the small businesses that we need to support. So I encourage you to get out there and do that. Guys, this is Friday, so have a good weekend, and we will see you on Tuesday at 9 a.m. And don't forget, sign up for the email list at ghostcreative.com/live. Guys, have a great day. Gavin, thanks again, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Thanks, Josh. Take care.